Good morning, team. It has been absolutely months since I last caught up with you. My life's been a whirlwind, to put it simply. There has been so much going on in my day-to-day that I just haven't had time to do anything like this. But I thought we were due for a catch-up, so hello. It is currently the 24th of October 2025. The year is almost over. We're in term 4 now. I've got 8 weeks left with this class, and then they're moving on to year 2, which is crazy to think about. As well, I find out who I'm working with, where I'm working, what class I've got next year soon. So there's lots of change happening at the moment. The theatre's going really, really well. Gosh, the theatre's going amazing. I don't know when we last caught up, but I am doing a show called Something Rotten, which is a musical set in the 1600s, I think. I think it's either 16 or 15. And it's about these two failing writers called the Bottom Brothers, who try to outdo Shakespeare and write the first musical. It's very silly and crude and tongue-in-cheek. And they go and see a fortune teller, Nostradamus, who isn't very good at telling the future. And they end up writing a musical about eggs. The butt of the joke is they were meant to write Hamlet and they wrote Omelette. So yeah, I'm playing... Oh! Don't start music, I'll get copyrighted. Yeah, I'm playing Brother Jeremiah, who is the head of the church, and he's also quite fruity. He's quite the repressed man, and he is in love with his daughter's boyfriend, which is very, very funny and hilarious to play. I have seen him played very aggressively and staunchly, but the way I interpreted Brother Jeremiah is he is very fragile masculinity, which he does, because he's hiding something that he can't really be if he's part of the church. And so I took inspiration from Cam from Modern Family, and I gave him a little bit of flightiness. Cam quite often will go very high-pitched out of nowhere, and I was like, I quite like that. As well, my mate Chris, in The Importance of Being Earnest, had one line where he uses a really nice, professional, proper English voice, and then he's yelling at Algie, and he goes, "In my garden!" And I was like, oh, I could throw that in into Brother Jeremiah. So I've taken inspiration from Cam, from Modern Family, my mate Chris, and I also was talking to George's dad, and he said, have a look at Rowan Atkinson. He's played lots of priests. Have a look at how he pronounces his words. Every word is almost a surprise with Rowan Atkinson. So there's a bit of hint in there. The way Rowan Atkinson says his B's is very like it pops out your mouth. So anytime I say bottom, I try and push that B out. Bottom. Or book. I've used a lot of Old English actually. I pronounce my W's in the old style, like what? So yeah, it's been lots of fun, lots of learning. Musical theatre is a whole other beast to normal theatre. Holy guacamole. I sure as heck wish I knew music theory. I think I would find it a lot easier if I knew that. And if I was able to read sheet music, oh, my life would be easier. But yeah, tons and tons and tons of learning at the theatre. Bucket loads. As I said, I'm learning to harmonise. I'm learning how to sing again. Learning how to dance. So there's lots of learning. I'm loving it. We have an amazing creative team, and everyone in the show are just lovely. I've met some beautiful people. So I'm really, really loving it. And yeah, as my first musical, doing a musical about musicals is really cool. It's very fun, silly, over the top. Quite different to what I've done before in earnest. So yeah, I'm loving it. And I have a big number called We See the Light, which is like gospel. If you think the Blues Brothers scene when they walk into the church, it's kind of like that. And it is so much fun. going on in my world. Theatre, as I said, it's term 4, so we've been assessing. My life at school has been paperwork for the whole term, basically. I entered most of it yesterday, so I'm almost at the end of our assessment stint. Been going to the quiz nights. We won the quiz night. I do the Believe It or Not quizzes with the team from Ernest. So we all quiz on a Wednesday night. And we won a couple weeks ago. We got the highest score that pub has ever had. We got a score of 103, which was amazing. What else has been happening? Been spending lots of time with Paige and crew. I caught up with Tane in the holidays. This is how long it's been since I filmed one of these. I'm going back to the holidays now. Are you on me? I have no idea if you can see me. I'm going to turn you a little bit. There we are. Oh my god, I completely forgot to tell you. I broke my phone. I like cooked it, like actually fried it. I almost started an electrical fire. That was how bad it was. So I have a Fold 4, and the thing with the folding phones is you can like half bend them and prop them up. I had it sitting on the windowsill whilst I was washing the dishes one night, watching a show, and it fell in the sink. Now it's a waterproof phone, so that was fine, but it was late at night, and subconsciously before I go to bed, I always put my phone on my wireless charger, and without thinking I was like, oh, I've dried it off, it's fine. I put it on the wireless charger, and Georgia started smelling this like toxic fume and was like, what is that? And I looked over and my phone was smoking. I'd actually fried it. Now I was fine losing the phone, like technology can be replaced, but I lost 3 years of photos from a really significant part of my life, from the last year of university to my first 2 years in the working world, which in that time I'd graduated. It was when I just met Georgia, so all my photos when I just met Georgia. 2 big adventures, the South Island photos and Asia. And yeah, all of those beautiful family photos, photos of like my first classroom, stuff like that, really significant life events, poof, like that. So I was legitimately distraught that I'd lost those photos. I took it to a data recovery man. He said he couldn't do it. I'd cooked it. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Whilst I went through such a horrific week, because I was phoneless, I'd fried my SIM card as well. And you can't make an eSIM from your phone number unless you have the original SIM card. And I thought my SIM card was fried. It wasn't working in my backup phone. So I was phoneless. I had to call from a landline at school to do insurance and stuff. It was wild. But I got to the end of the tunnel. AA Insurance were incredible. And they do used, well, old for new. So they offered me a Galaxy Fold 7, which is the latest foldable. And in truth, I think the foldables are too delicate. I work with 5-year-olds. I also have a tendency to drop my phone. I was like, I don't think this is made for me. Maybe in like a couple years once the technology's a bit sturdier, but right now, this isn't what I need. So I said, hey, would you consider offering me the S25 Ultra? It's cheaper than the Fold, and it's a bit sturdier. And as well, I had a 256 gig Fold, and I said, because you're offering me the Fold 7, which is like $3,000, would you consider doing the S25 Ultra in 1 terabyte? Because it comes out, even at 1 terabyte, it still comes out cheaper than the Fold. And they're like, sure. And I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. So I've got a brand new phone, a 1 terabyte S25 Ultra. I've put it in the most protective case I could find. Put it in an OtterBox. Let's see if I can unplug it for you. And yeah, so hopefully this will be like my next phone for the decade. And I'm gonna back up my photos, print them out every week, and really be on top of that, because I was distraught about losing my phone. Not losing my phone, losing my photos. So yeah, I'm back online, which is great. Months ago, before I filmed this, we went and saw Jersey Boys, which was amazing. That was the last show I've seen. And then, yeah, I've been buying books. I always go to Xanadu if I can leave work early. It's my favourite second-hand bookstore. I will never stop promoting it. And there's no book over $5 in there. Briar is the most loveliest bookshop owner. And yeah, I've been picking up a couple more westerns that have been on my to-be-read list. I picked up the Border Trilogy by Cormac McCarthy, which has all the pretty horses in it, which I've heard is amazing. It's quite often on those top western lists. And I picked up Hondo. I also picked up a Stephen King, Under the Dome. I watched the Netflix show and loved it, and then it got cancelled, so I picked that up. Hopefully I can finish the story there. And Briar, one day when I walked in, I think it was last week or the week before, maybe 2 weeks, was like, Michael, I've just got these in, and brought this big stack of hardback Harry Potters up, and was like, I just got the full set of Harry Potter in, and I don't own the Harry Potters, nor embarrassingly have I read them. I've just started listening to them. It was really good timing. I'd listened through The Philosopher's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, and Prisoner of Azkaban. And she pulled them out, and I was like, oh my god, they're all hardback and beautiful and fantastic condition. And I flicked through them from the Goblet of Fire onwards, no, from the Prisoner of Azkaban onwards. They're all first editions. And I was like, well, if this is not a sign to get the Harry Potters, I don't know what is. So I'm currently reading the Goblet of Fire, which is amazing. I love the films, and I can't believe I've never watched, I can't believe I've never read the books. But I am absolutely adoring them. They're quite a comforting read. There's no tricky English in there. I don't have to pull a dictionary out when I read it. It's a nice, simple read. And then last night I went in, and I went up to the classics section. I had a weird desire to read The Wind and the Willows yesterday. I don't know where it came from, because I hadn't seen a video on it. But I went looking in the classics upstairs, and I found a beautiful copy from 1960, an illustrated hardback copy of The Wind and the Willows, which is at the bottom of this pile. It's very delicate and very old, but what better a copy to find than this? And it was gifted to someone in 1961. The writing's still in the front page. And yeah, as I said, the dust cover's kind of falling apart. It needs some tape, but I thought it would be a beautiful book for me to read. There's not enough whimsy in our world, so I'm hoping that can add a bit of whimsy to my life. And I thought it might be a really lovely book to read with my kids. At points, I know it can be quite wordy, and it's an older book, so the language is a bit advanced for young kids. But I thought I'd give it a shot. And then I also picked up, I found 2 paperback copies of the Winnie the Poohs, which I also thought would be lovely to read with my kids, because my mum used to read me the Winnie the Poohs, and they're lovely. And yes, the English is a little bit hard to understand, but you can always scaffold. And then the last one is not kid related in any way or form, but it's always on those lists of to-be-reads. I finally found a copy of War and Peace by Tolstoy. Yeah, massive book. This is about 1,000 pages. And what surprised me when I opened it was how small the bloomin' text is. So it's going to be a monster of a read, but I've heard amazing things about it. Do I buy far too many books? Yes. Do I have the time to read them? No. But I found a Japanese concept. The Japanese have the most wonderful whimsical concepts for everything and anything, called sundoku, which is the act of buying books and letting them pile up around you. It is an act or symbol that you have more to learn and more to grow and more to do, and that your ideas can always be challenged. and I quite liked that. It justified me buying books. So yeah, I think I'll start reading the Winnie the Poohs today. I want to read the Wind and the Willows at home first on my own. Yeah, people say it's a treasure of a book. The other one I want to read, and it is a proper kids book, I'll read it with my kids, is Frog and Toad. The reason for that, it's so wild. A film I watched back in like 2011 or 2012 called Arthur, which has, oh, what's his name? It starts with an R. Very, very good British actor in it. He went a bit hippie recently. Anyways, it's called Arthur, and it's about this guy that has bucket loads of money and lives with a nanny, and he never really grew up. And he's lying on this rock next to his date, and he's talking about Frog and Toad. And it sounded so whimsical. I'd never read it. I think maybe that's where I got the inkling to read something like The Wind and the Willows. So I need to try and find a copy of Frog and Toad to read with the kids. And yeah, as I said, it's about this frog and a toad and their friendship and going about their days. Anyways, I'm at work. That was a very rushed catch up, but I felt like I needed to chat. There's just so much going on in my world that, yeah, I haven't had time to catch up with you. I do promise to do more of these, honest. I think they're really good for catching up with family and friends and documenting my life, but hey, I've been busy and tired, but yeah, we're getting there. Love to you and your family. I'll see you when I see you. Ka kite.